Hi, back with you again. I'm John from VoWac Publishing. We were talking about learning modalities, information from growing up learning. We talked about the auditory visual kinesthetic learner, and the last one we want to talk about is this mixed modality. This is considered teacher's favorite son. There's a reliability factor with these kids. You can depend on them to run errands. They always seem to have the right answer when everybody else is struggling. They always have a solution to something. All of these modalities, auditory, visual, kinesthetic, if this is a child's strong suit, when they approach a problem, they're going to use this modality first. They're going to use their strength first to try and solve the problem. Mixed modalities have the luxury of going from modality to modality to try and solve the problem. They can easily transition in from one modality to the next to try and come up with a solution to a problem or to complete a task. As I said, there's a reliability factor. These kids are often seen as teachers' pets. It's kind of a bad rap necessarily, but they're seen as teacher's pet. Like I said, you can send them on an errand and they'll come back with the information, whether it's the milk money or the announcements or whatever. If you send the kinesthetic on an errand, they may not come back. This is not a dependable child to send on an errand. These guys you probably could do that with, but this child, guaranteed, this one will work for you. This child is probably pretty quiet in the room. They grasp what's going on. They may or may not participate. They're not necessarily overly aggressive. They will get involved when they have to get involved. A lot of times other kids will see them as the class leaders. Now, speaking on behalf of the kinesthetics, we hated you guys in school. You made us look bad. You didn't do it on purpose. Teacher gave an assignment. We had a week to do it. Within a day, 2 days, mixed modalities, you were done with it. You had it all planned out, it was all sorted, it was ready to go, and you were tweaking, fine-tuning it. The last day when the project was due, when the assignment was due, us kinesthetics were looking around going, there was an assignment for this? See, we looked bad. We looked bad because we weren't organized. Mixed modalities, you got it made. Mixed modality kids are often seen as part of they often qualify for the gifted talented programs because they make things look so easy. It makes it look like they're gifted. Now keep in mind, 1.5%, maybe 2% of your student population fall into the GT category. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but if you're a mixed modality, doesn't necessarily mean that you're gifted and talented. But again, these kids often fall into that category because they do things and they make it look so easy. They're very talented, but they may not be gifted. As I said, the gifted, talented child may lay back and not do anything. They already know the answers. They've got it figured out. And so if you don't call on them, they won't participate. So it's up to you to get them involved. You know, if you're going into a parent-teacher conference, and you know you have a mixed modality child, if you're going into a parent-teacher conference and you tell the parent, you know, I wouldn't know Susie was in class if she didn't sneeze once in a while. You just threw a red flag at yourself. It's telling you that you're not getting that child involved. So you need to make sure that they're answering questions and make them explain why. I'll give you an example. Kinesthetics, we tore stuff apart. We knew how things worked. We went from point A to point B to point C because we diligently took things apart to see how they worked. Mixed modality kids, they go from point A and they get to point D, and a lot of times when you have projects, teachers don't require the mixed modality child to explain how they got from one step to the next step to the next step. All we're looking at is the final project, and we're grading on the final result. We're not grading on the process. In college, when kids get into higher education, mixed modality kids tend to struggle a little bit more because college professors a lot of times will want, what did you do to get to this step, to this step, to this step that led you to the final result? And because they have lacking experience in doing that, they struggle. Kinesthetic kids don't. The biggest thing is get kinesthetic kids into college without somebody bodily injuring them first. These kids do real well when they get to college, but mixed modality kids, they struggle in that respect. So your job is to get that mixed modality kid involved. Something else about the mixed modality child is, we talked about teacher pet, and I can't stress that enough. A lot of times, because kids don't know how to handle that emotional angst, they harbor a lot of resentment towards those kids. So keep that in check, keep that in mind. There's a lot of other stuff about the mixed modalities, and you have other combinations, whether it's an auditory visual child or a visual kinesthetic or a kinesthetic auditory. There's a lot of combinations. This book kind of fills you in on all of those things, gives you some ideas on what you can do, shouldn't do, and it's a pretty easy read. But that's the mixed modalities. I'm not going to beat this one up a whole lot. Encourage you to get the book, read through it, go through the checklist, take advantage of the information that's there. But that's Growing Up Learning by Dr. Walter Barb. Again, a VoWac publication exclusively from VoWac. And we're glad to have you on this one. Join me for the next one. We're going to get into Clover and some of the other aspects about VoWac. Thanks for joining.